for some reason you get bumped off due to uneven internet connectivity, just log in again, and you should be able to pick up where you left off. You may also use the chat function to engage our production staff as we move forward. At the conclusion of the presentation, we will transition to the Medal of Honor Telesforo Trinidad Name a Battleship campaign panel discussion. There'll be a virtual program break in between, give you an opportunity for photo opportunities with Major General Tony Taguba before the panel discussion starts. So stand by, don't go away after the Congressional Gold Medal presentation, because there's a panel discussion that comes shortly after that. So at this time, to lead the prayers, the invocation, I'd like to introduce Chaplain Don Beardog, Jr., U.S. Navy, Captain, retired. Chaplain Don.
Let us pray. Eternal God, the source and the giver of life, the destiny toward whom all life flows, we come to you this afternoon, remembering and honoring today and every day our World War II heroes. Many of the warriors left their families and never returned home, nor hearing Filipinos and Americans saying, "Thank you for your service." They gave up their todays and guaranteed our future freedom. We honor all our fallen fellow Filipinos and Americans, known and unknown, who sacrificed their freedom to ensure our own. With love, grace, and earnest reflection, we are rededicating ourselves to strengthening our nation's promise to never forget the sacrifices of our brave Marines, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen who gave their all for freedom's sake. These brave warriors deserve our utmost respect and gratitude for giving their last full measure of devotion for the valued principles that bind us as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. These courageous and selfless fighters have stepped forward to protect the nations they love, fight for America's highest ideal, and show millions that a future of liberty is possible. In remembering and recognizing those who made the ultimate sacrifice, we pray, O Lord, that our nation continues to pledge to never stop working in fulfilling our moral obligation to all members of our armed services, so they know we stand beside them every step of the way. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, in whose hands are the living and the dead, we give you thanks for all of those of your servants who have laid down their lives in the service of our country. Grant them your mercy and the light of your presence and the assurance of your peace. This is our prayer that we offer in the holy name of Jesus Christ, in memory of those of the past, in the hope for the future of peace, O God our Father. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Don. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the playing of the Philippine and the U.S. national anthems.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhatit pagsinta. Buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mang-aapi ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Now, please welcome Major General Antonio Taguba, U.S. Army, retired, Chairman of the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project. General Tony, welcome to San Diego.
Everybody hear me? Good. Thanks, Joe, for that kind introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank especially Chaplain Don for delivering God's blessings to our ceremony today, especially to the deceased World War II veterans that are unable to attend this afternoon. As Joe said, I'm Major General Antonio Mario Taguba, United States Army retired. I'm the son of Sergeant First Class Tomas Taguba, who was captured in Bataan. He was a Philippine scout at the time, and escaped from the march on his third day, and then became a recognized guerrilla. So I know full well what this ceremony is about. To our distinguished guests and families of deceased veterans who are not able to attend, our deepest and eternal gratitude for attending this afternoon to receive your loved one's Congressional Gold Medal. Now, in our lives, we often aspire to do something that is unquestionably life-changing. In the case of the American and Filipino veterans, soldiers, they fought with fierce determination and were victorious against a brutal enemy to defend the United States in the Philippines during World War II. This award ceremony you will all witness is a once in a lifetime for many here today. This is our 90th ceremony, reflective of the epic day on October 25th, 2017, when the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Paul Ryan formally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to 3 living veterans, represented by Mr. Celestino Almeida, a 104-year-old veteran, and 3 of next of kin, represented by Mrs. Margaret Baltazar, wife of the late Major Jesse Baltazar. President Abraham Lincoln once said, and I quote, "To honor those to the soldiers and sailors everywhere who bravely bears this country's cause in honor, also to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves as best as he can the same cause. For those we are honoring with the Congressional Gold Medal, this reflects the interminable cost on the lives and sacrifice of some 260,000 men and women who fought during World War II in the Philippines. They embodied the values of the Army Creed. They accomplished their mission to never leave a fallen comrade behind and to never quit. They stood strong and stalwart even when their brothers died and were wounded, waiting for their rightful recognition. And after the war in September 1945, the 79th Congress passed the Rescission Acts of 1946 that denied their status of active service during the war, which is a betrayal of their benefits promised and revocation of their path towards American citizenship. This law created a lifetime of indignation and injustice that still lingers to this day. The Rescission Act was never repealed, and we are going to go after it at our next mission to repeal that act. But the undeniable proof is that 57,000 soldiers were killed in action, thousands more were wounded for life, and thousands missing in action. These men and women did exist, an irrefutable and significant historical fact. It begs to remind us, the families and beneficiaries of their selfless sacrifice and heroic acts in war, to our children and grandchildren in the future, to never forget the significance of their mission and the dire and unknown consequences had they failed in war, but they succeeded. The Congressional Gold Medal was specially designed by the veterans and approved by the United States Mint. We consulted with several living veterans on how their story would be enshrined on a medal that is 3 inches in diameter and weighs approximately 1 pound. It is a one-of-a-kind medal. The front end of the medal has 3 faces of soldiers, Filipinos and Americans, representing the Philippine Scouts, the Philippine Commonwealth Army, the United States Army, and recognized guerrillas. The reverse of the medal portrays key features of the 4 major campaigns the soldiers fought under. The U.S. Secretary of Treasury approved the design of the medal. Congress appropriated funds to pay only for one Congressional Gold Medal, which is housed in a vault at the United States Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. We in PhilVetRep conduct these ceremonies through donations to purchase the bronze replica of the medal. The medal the recipients will receive today is a bronze replica of the exact design of the gold medal I had mentioned previously. To the families accepting the medal on behalf of your loved ones, the Congressional Gold Medal represents the value, legacy, incalculable, immeasurable, of the veterans who served, who fought with fierce determination for their families and countries, who suffered in death and wars, whose loyalty and patriotism made it possible for all of us who are attending today and across the country to enrich our lives of freedom and future. Cherish the incalculable value of the medal. Your loved ones, the fighting Filipino veterans, earned it for their duty to country. It's also about how we must honor and respect them, to tell your children in the future why this medal is an important part of your family's history and why it must be enshrined in American history, to educate the public and to preserve their legacy for eternity. We as a community must record the experience and share them with others, so our beloved veterans are never forgotten. We all owe the veterans an eternal debt of gratitude for their service and selfless sacrifice. As they pass on, we become their voices in telling their stories for generations to come. As I mentioned before, they must be remembered for eternity. With that, I'm honored for all of us to see the 6-minute video, which encompasses of 80 years worth of history. Please share the video.
I think that oftentimes you get written out of history when you're not the one doing the writing.
World War II happened in many other places, and my grandma was one of those people who experienced that, and why have I never heard anything about the Philippines during the war.
No one talks about the Filipinos who were there, much less the fact that we took away their service afterwards. It's sort of a second-class kind of narrative about World War II.
All of the promises that they were made to fight were taken away from them, right? U.S. citizenship, benefits conferred on both themselves, on their spouses. I mean, you can't help but feel like a part of you has been taken away.
If they rob you of your honor and betray you on a promise that was made to you, they don't pay you and then they discount you. That's hard. You know, it's tantamount to being non-existent.
December 7th, 1941.
December 8, 1941.
A date which will live in infamy.
The war broke out in the Philippines.
Pearl Harbor is not just an attack on one base in Hawaii. It's also an attack on the Philippines.
The president, realized that, hey, we're not going to win the Pacific if we don't enlist the help of the Filipinos that are there.
And he says, basically, you are all now in the service of the United States. Filipinos and Americans marching together into the same forces under the same flag. When the Japanese invade and conquer the Philippines, those forces disintegrate. But that doesn't mean that they stop fighting. And that many of them recruit new soldiers into guerrilla armies.
Most people don't know that the Philippines is, outside of Poland, the most devastated Allied country. It is destroyed by World War II.
Roosevelt promised that if you fight under the U.S. flag, they were promised that they would be treated just like any American veteran. Well, that didn't happen.
The Rescission Act is at heart a broken promise. The Rescission Act is really one of the worst things Americans have ever done to the people who have served them.
I thought it will be easy to get their benefit, but I found out as a USAPI veteran, you are a second-rate citizen.
Why were Filipinos singled out? Among the 66 nations that were part of the Allied forces, Filipinos were singled out to be deprived of their rightful benefits. Why?
After the Rescission Act was passed in 1946, there were critics who tried to get it repealed. President Harry Truman said, this does not relieve us of our moral obligation to Philippine veterans.
There was a couple Supreme Court cases. They were trying to get some benefits and the court ruled against them. I had suggested to the senator that maybe we try and do some kind of legislation.
When I came to Washington, I discovered that there were living veterans, and I was really moved by the fact that these are veterans in their 60s, 70s, marching the halls of Congress.
Many of them went on symbolic hunger strikes, and many of them chained themselves to the White House. And these are the tactics of political action, of civil disobedience that they are learning from the civil rights movement.
Could you imagine that, being 70, 80 years old, and you believe so much in what you're fighting for that you're willing to handcuff yourself to the gates of the White House knowing that you will be arrested?
What they really wanted was an official recognition by the United States government that they served under the U.S. flag, that they exist, that they mattered, that they fought side by side with American soldiers, and yet after the war was over, they were forgotten, like as if they never existed.
This is a Congressional Gold Medal awarded to Filipino World War II veterans.
The Congressional Gold Medal is one of our oldest traditions here in the Capitol.
260,000 Filipino men and women who fought under the American flag were vital to the Allied victory. Today, we commemorate their service and remember their sacrifice.
Congress responds when the people tells him what to do. Sometimes they don't, but in this case, it took more than 40 years. And I think it's a lesson. Anytime there is a cause that is worth fighting for, if you don't speak up, if you don't organize, and you don't let Congress know loud and clear that what they're doing is wrong, then nothing's ever going to happen.
There were over 260,000 Filipino troops that fought, and by the time we get to 2016, 17, there's like 18,000 left and dying daily.
I think most people, by and large, assume that we live in a country where a government does right by our people. Yet, when we uncover the story, it's the story that we need to remember so that we can remain vigilant.
That story is not going to be told unless we do this education project. And we committed ourselves to making sure that that story also becomes enshrined in American history, much like the Navajo Code Talkers, much like the Japanese American Nisei soldiers, much like the African Americans who fought during the Civil War, because this story is part of American history.
I hope you enjoyed the program, and let me now turn it over back to Joe Garbazos for the official ceremony and awarding the Congressional Gold Medal.
Thank you, General Tony. I'm gonna announce the U.S. Congressional Gold Medal order. So attention to orders. And then after that, I'm gonna call out individually the names of the 12 veterans we're honoring this afternoon. So attention to orders. In accordance with Public Law 114265, the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal Act of 2016, the following veterans are awarded the Congressional Gold Medal for their intrepidity and indomitable courage against a brutal enemy in defense of the Philippines and the United States from December 8, 1941 to December 31st, 1946. Today, this afternoon, the following Filipino American veterans will be awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. So first up is First Lieutenant Rodolfo Papa Largosa Jr. Joined the service of the United States Armed Forces of the Far East on November 16, 1941. He served as a first lieutenant ward surgeon in the Army Medical Corps and was stationed at the General Hospital in Cabcaban, Bataan, until the surrender of Bataan on April 9, 1942. In 1943, he connected with guerrilla activities as a medical officer and was given the rank of captain. Dr. Largosa was honorably discharged on April 9th, 1946, and in March of 2000, he was awarded the Prisoner of War Medal. Accepting the gold medal are Dr. Largosa's 9 children. He was prolific. 9 children. I'm gonna call them out: Rosendito, Purificacion, Ricardo, Renato, Rodolfo Jr., Rebecca, Felicidad, Rogelio, and Ramon. Congratulations.
Hello, we are the children of First Lieutenant Rodolfo Papa Largosa, Medical Corps of the USAFI, and these are my siblings. This is Rick, this baby, this Nene, Becky, Rodolfo Jr., and Ramon, and we are joined by our brother from New Jersey, Rosendito, and our other brother from the Philippines, Rogelio. and my name is Renato. On behalf of our father, First Lieutenant Rodolfo Papalargosa Sr. of USAFI Medical Corps, we are honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
A warm of applause, virtual. Right. Next up is Sergeant Raimundo Ramos Licerio. He joined a recognized guerrilla unit at the age of 19, young man, on December 1st, 1943. During World War II, he served with the U.S. Army G Company, 2nd Battalion, Buena Vista Regiment in northern Luzon region of the Philippines. He served until honorably discharged on October 31st, 1945. After the war, he became a civilian worker on base, and in 1993, he moved to San Diego, smart move, to join his daughter and grandchildren. He died on August 28, 2017, and we are sorry for his loss. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his daughter and granddaughter, Irene and Cheryl Ann Testada. Congratulations.
On behalf of my Lolo and my father, Private First Class Raimundo Ramos Licerio, we are honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Third up is Corporal John Lyson. I'm an Ilonggo, so I'll pronounce it the Ilonggo way, Lyson, right? Joined the United States Army on March 29th, 1942. He served with the 2nd Filipino Battalion in the Pacific Theater as a rifleman, setting up intelligence observation posts within enemy lines and at frontline positions until December 30, 1945. John died on November 11, 1989, accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on behalf of his 5 children, 10 grandchildren, 23 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren is his daughter, Carolina Lyson Goodman. Congratulations, and I'm sure your father is smiling up there somewhere.
Thank you, Major General, AARP, and all those who made this event possible. On behalf of our father, Corporal John Lyson, my sister Letitia, brothers Sonny and Dennis, and I are honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. As a teenager in 1926, our father left his family rice farm near Iloilo, Panay to live in the U.S. He is one of the California's historical Manongs. After World War II, he and his war bride, Constancia Salinas from Tacloban, Leyte, raised their 5 children, first in Stockton and then in Palm Springs, where the Veterans Bill made it possible for them to buy a house in 1956. Our father was an amazing gardener, growing vegetables like ampalaya, kamote, and gabi, and an orchard of malunggay, calamansi, guava, and mango trees. Neighbors and friends loved harvesting in our backyard.
On behalf. Congratulations. Well done. Next up is Private First Class Victor B. Marasigan. Joined the Philippine guerrilla during World War II at the tender age of 18. He was inducted on October 1944 as a private first class and was stationed under the headquarters Company 45th Regiment 44 Division Hunters ROTC at Pila, Laguna. His unit engaged in combat operation and intelligence work. His service lasted for a year and he was discharged in 1945. Private First Class Marasigan died in 1995. Sorry for his loss. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his widow, Priscilla Marasigan, daughter, Maria Victoria, and son, Edward. Congratulations.
On behalf of my late father, Victor B. Marasigan, Private First Class, with Army Serial Number 214027, as recognized Philippine guerrilla, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Well done. Congratulations. Next is Sergeant Cesar Nava. Joined the Philippine Commonwealth Army. He served with the Philippine Army Air Corps and a survivor of the infamous Bataan Death March. And he was also involved, or he was interned at the Capas concentration camp. He was honorably discharged on June 30, 1946, and entered government service at Philippine Normal College. Sergeant Nava died on August 6, 2016. We share your loss. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are Colonel Carlo Nava, Philippine Army retired, Cesar Nava Jr., and Cecile Nava. Congratulations.
On behalf of our father, Sergeant Cesar V. Nava, we are honored to receive this Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Congratulations. Next up is Corporal Romualdo Ignacio. He joined the Philippine Army on October 15, 1942. Very short attribution here from the family, but just like the rest of the families receiving the U.S. Congressional Gold Medal, Corporal Romualdo Ignacio was an extraordinary soldier and a loyal freedom fighter. So we recognize him and his family this afternoon. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his daughter, Frances Ignacio. Congratulations.
On behalf of my father, Corporal Romualdo Ignacio, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. My father joined the Army on October 15, 1942. During World War II, he served with Unit A, 2nd Filipino Battalion in Luzon of the Philippine Islands. As a squad leader and marksman, he received the Filipino Liberation Ribbon, the Good Conduct Medal, and Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal. He was discharged on October 16, 1945. Following World War II, he moved to the United States, where he worked in agriculture throughout California. Corporal Romualdo Ignacio died on January 2nd, 1986. On behalf of our family, we'd like to thank the Filipino Veteran Recognition and Education Project for this honor. Thank you to everyone involved.
Hello, I'm Patricia.
Thank you, Francis. That was terrific. Thank you for sharing more about your dad, Romualdo. Next is Private Victorino Dagdagan. Joined the Army on July 22nd, 1942. During World War II, he served with Private Company A, 2nd Filipino Infantry in Camp Cook, California. He served with the unit until April 15, 1943. Following World War II, He worked as a farm laborer throughout California, eventually settling in Imperial Valley, California. On April 10th, 1950, he married Dolores Moya and settled in Hopeville, California, where they raised 3 children, Robert, Susanna, and Patricia. Private Victorino died on November 29th, 1979. He survived by his 3 children, 5 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his children, Patricia Martinez, Susanna Dagdagan, and Robert Dagdagan. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Patricia Martinez, and I'm representing my siblings, Robert Dagdagan and Susanna Dagdagan. And on behalf of our father, Army Private Victorino Dagdagan, we're honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
In behalf of
Congratulations. Next up is Bienvenido Hernandez. Joined the Philippine Army and USAFE during World War II. After the war, he continued to serve and was stationed in Zaragoza, Nueva Ecija until 1947. Mr. Hernandez passed away on April 1st, 1981. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his daughter, Virginia Ferrer. Congratulations.
In behalf of my father, Bienvenido Hernandez, of the Army in USAFE, we are honored to receive this Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and helpless sacrifice.
Congratulations. Next up is Sergeant Jose G. Jasmine, or Hasman. Served in the U.S. Army from November 23rd, 1948 to June 30, 1962. During World War II, prior to his active U.S. military service, he fought as a guerrilla, as a Philippine scout, alongside U.S. Army soldiers. He was captured and held prisoner by the Japanese and was in the Bataan Death March, another survivor of the Bataan Death March. He managed to escape and returned to his hometown of Mangaterm, Pangasinan, to continue to fight until the end of the war. He retired from active duty in 1962 with a rank of SP 5 or E5 as a member of the 103rd Engineering Company in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He served in the Army Reserve until 1971 to complete his U.S. military service. Sergeant Jasmine passed away in 2004. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his son, Jose Jr., daughters Evelyn, Sonia, and numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Congratulations.
On behalf of our father, Sergeant Joe G. Hasmin, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next up is Antonio Faustino. Joined the Philippine guerrillas on March the 2nd, 1945. He served with the Lawan Patriot and Suicide Forces in Manila until September 26, 1945. Following World War II, he returned to civilian life, working with various American companies. Antonio died in 1969, and we grieve his loss. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his son, Anthony Faustino. Congratulations.
On behalf of my father, Antonio Faustino, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Hi, I'm Lori Babuhay.
Mabuhay indeed. Congratulations. Next up is Staff Sergeant Jose C. Velasco. Philippine Army served with the 1st Filipino Infantry Regiment until February 18, 1946. A very short description from the family, but I'm sure that just like the rest of the veterans we are honoring here this afternoon, Jose C. Velasco is an extraordinary soldier and someone we can be proud of. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his children. Congratulations.
On behalf of our father, Staff Sergeant Jose C. Velasco, we are honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Jose was born October 15, 1907 in the Philippines and joined the Army on June 12, 1942. His campaigns were in New Guinea and the Southern Philippines. Jose served with the 1st Filipino Infantry Regiment, was decorated and cited with Combat Infantry Badge, Good Conduct Medal, World War II Victory Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, the American Campaign Medal, and the Philippine Liberation Ribbon with 1 Bronze Star. Upon his honorable discharge on February 18, 1946, he returned to the Imperial Valley to join fellow Filipinos in the agricultural industry, growing tomatoes, squash, and cucumbers. He continued to farm and work the fields until his retirement, passed away on July 6, 1980. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on behalf of our father, Army Staff Sergeant Jose C. Velasco, are his children, Mary Helen Velasco Dolenti,
George Velasco, Jose Jr., David Velasco,
and his 2 deceased siblings, Leticia Velasco Groom and Robert John Velasco. On behalf of our father, Staff Sergeant Jose C. Velasco, we are honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Well done. I'm sure your dad is very proud. Next, last but not least, it's going to be a robust testimonial. And I think well deserved. This is for Private Ilugio Cubillo Ramos. Served in the United States Army Forces in the Far East from December 10th, 1942 to September 22nd, 1947. The unit was attached to the Bravo Company, 1st Battalion Infantry Regiment, performing duties in the Southern Luzon guerrilla area. After his service, he pursued his studies at Manuel L. Quezon University and received a degree of Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. On December 3rd, 1949, he married Agripina Salgado and were blessed with 9 children. Private Ramos served as a barangay councilman and also as a Catholic lay minister in his hometown of Quezon City. He was also involved with the Disabled American Veterans Organization, both in the Philippines and in California. In 1991, he became naturalized US citizen. He died on January 7, 2015, at the age of 88 in Quezon City, Philippines. Gift of long life. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his children, Lori, Grace, Filipina, Ronald, Herbert, Robert, Monette, and Mercipina. Congratulations.
I'm Lori. Mabuhay. I'm Grace. Hi, I'm Filipina Ramos Gabriel.
Kiara, this is Ronald.
Hey, Herbert here. Hi, this is Robert.
Hello, Manette Dugil.
And I'm Recipina Ramos Gutierrez.
On behalf of our father, Private Eulogio Cubillo Ramos, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Maraming salamat
po.
Maraming salamat indeed. So thank you very much. So that concludes our presentation to the 12 families. Now, please join me in giving all the families a virtual round of applause. So maybe you can open up the gallery and make sure that everybody gets a virtual hug and a virtual round of applause. Well done, families. Thank you. So Tony, I'd like to bring you back to say words about the Congressional Gold Medal presentation and the opportunity to support the cause moving forward. Tony? I think he's muted.
Unmute, please.
Should we have our distinguished guest make their remarks, if there is possible?
Okay, we can flex that. So we would like to move forward the elected officials who are present. If
there he is
available, there he is. U.S. Congressman Juan Vargas. I'm in your district, Congressman, and I'm non-partisan, but I think I will support you. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. It's been an honor to listen to all of the recipients' children today and the recipients. I had the honor in 2016 to vote on this Congressional Gold Medal of Honor for the Filipino veterans. It was well deserved. The only thing that saddens me is that over the years, I've known so many that have died before they received it themselves. But their children, which I see today, know in their hearts that their parents, their fathers, deserved that medal and finally got the recognition that they deserved. It really is an honorable thing, General, to see you today too here with all of these wonderful people, from one child to 9. I think 9 was the most that I heard, praising their fathers for their heroism and their service to country and the world. You know, I told the story too because they predate. Who predates them? There was one Filipino American or Filipino who won the gold medal back in the early years, and this was Telesforo de la Cruz Trinidad. And I think many of you have heard the story about him. An incredible human being. He was on the USS San Diego. Interestingly, Mr. Garbanzo, his name was, he was on the ship named after San Diego. And they were down near La Paz, and the captain decided, it was 1915, right before the war, First World War. So the captain decided to take the ship up to full speed, so flank speed. So he did that. Unfortunately, there was a clog in one of the boilers, and it blew up one of the boilers. I think it was boiler number 2. Literally, Telesforo was blown out of that fire room. He went back in, and he saved one of his shipmates. And as he was dragging this man to safety, another one of the boiler rooms blew up. By this time, his face was burned, his hands was burned. With these horrible burns, he runs in again with no sense of danger to himself and all sense of trying to save his shipmate. And the ship runs in, grabs him, pulls him out, brings him to safety, saves 2 people. But that wasn't enough. He then went and fought in World War I, and then he fought in World War II, and he retired after World War II. He was, of course, granted the gold medal, the Congressional Gold Medal. That's why Filipino Americans have this great, well-deserved medal, and before them, they have this great example of Telesforo. There's only one sad thing here. Telesforo deserves and should have a U.S. combat ship named in his honor. It's the right thing to do, and we ought to do that. We ought to have the USS Telesforo de la Cruz Trinidad. That ought to be one of our fighting ships. And so I've written a letter to the Secretary of the Navy asking for this to be done. I hope we all can get together. But today we celebrate the fabulous history of Filipino Americans keeping the world safe, keeping the United States safe, with unfortunately terrible things happening to themselves and to their families, the sacrifices they made. But we honor them today for those sacrifices. And I'm so proud of all their children today being proud of their dads, because we're very proud of their dads as a nation. God bless them, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Congressman Vargas. We deeply appreciate it. You're deeply appreciated by all of us, and for supporting the Filipino veterans of World War II.
Yeah, so I would echo General Tony's feedback. Representative Juan Vargas, you're a busy man, but you took time to join us, so we are honored. And credit should go where credit is due, right? Joanne Fields was instrumental in getting you and other elected officials to join us, albeit virtually. So Joanne Fields, I'd like to say a few words, perhaps. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Joe and General Major Taguba, and Congressman Juan Vargas. Not only is he our great representative here in the San Diego Congressional Delegation, he eloquently tells the story of so many Filipino active duty and veterans that have served our country for not just decades, but hundreds of years. And it is great to know that our congressman has stood up to make sure that all of our Filipino military has been recognized and will be recognized with a warship for the heroism and act of valor that U.S. Navy Fireman Telesforo Trinidad has demonstrated in 1915. So it's over 100 years long that this fight has continued to be recognized. He joined the fight to make sure that our Filipino military also is recognized for their contributions in winning World War II. So I, on behalf of our team that organized today's virtual Filipino American military celebration, this is how we fight hate against Asians, is to remind people we are your neighbors, we are your military, and we stand together with you. And again, thank you, Congressman Vargas and the San Diego delegation that has signed on to ensure the naming of a warship after our Medal of Honor, Telesforo Trinidad. We also have Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs that has signed on, Congressman Michael Levine, Congressman Scott Peters, and also Mayor Todd Gloria, all of which would have liked to join us today, but due to prior commitments, were not able to, but they have signed on to that same letter to the Secretary of the Navy for the naming of the warship. But again, the recognition given to the Filipino community for the contributions into American history and the contributions to our military. We really appreciate your time and your continuation of support of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Well said. Thank you. And again, big thanks, you as Congressman Juan Vargas. Keep up the good job in Washington. So I would like to bring back Tony to provide some closing remarks.
This has been a wonderful ceremony, well fitting for everybody. But again, to the heroes and families we honored today. To the heroes and families we honored today, we thank you for you and your loved ones. Of course, there is no greater honor and respect America can bestow to soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen. As we say, those who have served in the military, there's no statute of limitation in recognizing and honoring our veterans. Let me just be, I might say, humble as I address you before we end the ceremony. Now, we have awarded over 3,000 Congressional Gold Medals to living veterans and families since October 2017 in the United States. The Philippines, of course, have done almost 50 ceremonies since 2017 as well. As you could imagine, doing ceremonies in the Philippines with 3,000 islands and trying to find living veterans across the country is very difficult. Now, we have another 5,000 living veterans, we think. We don't have a census for that, who are in their 90s, of course, and with ailments. And you can imagine dementia, diabetes, and the like, and they're all passing. And most of them will pass along the way, having to wait for the Congressional Gold Medal. Just to let you know, one that we honored a couple of weekends ago, Mr. Faustino Nazareno, not 91 years old, was a recognized guerrilla when he joined the Hunters ROTC guerrilla unit at the young age of 13. And he survived that whole conflict, yet he is at stage 4 cancer today, and we were able to present him his Congressional Gold Medal. At least he should stay alive to at least cherish it for a short period of time. As I mentioned to you, Congress only provided funds for a single Congressional Gold Medal, and that's by law. PhilVet started a fundraising program to raise funds, and also to our sponsorships from donors across the country to buy the bronze replicas that was awarded today. And they are very costly, and what we do is that we purchase them ahead of time and then make the presentation. Now, this is our 90th ceremony. I'm not so sure we could continue because we're literally running out of money, just to be honest with you. So we humbly request for those who attended and for those who are listening in for the generous donations, so we can continue to purchase additional bronze replicas from the United States Mint and to keep our award presentations ongoing. We have another 4, maybe 5 this year, but we cannot sustain that in the future. So we need and appreciate your support. Now, your donations are tax exempt. We are tax deductible under IRS rules. The link to donate is right here. I know you can see it, you can post it. But if you go to www.philvetrep.org/donate, we will truly appreciate and gratified in your ability to continue with our program. Any monies that we collect through donations and sponsorship goes immediately to the fund, PhilVet Fund. We are all volunteers, as you can imagine, and we don't get paid. In fact, not to brag, I paid for my own way here from Virginia to San Diego. Please don't tell my wife, and because I like doing this sort of thing on behalf of my own family. So again, go to www.philvetrep.org and please donate when you can. Last but not least, please be safe with your loved ones. I know Omicron is up and active today. Please wear your mask. Please get vaccinated. We want you at least to join our program when you can. We plan to continue with this virtual program and also in a hybrid mode in order for us to support the public under PhilVet, Filipino Veterans Recognition Education Project. We will now transition into the USS Telesforo Trinidad campaign. We'll take a short break and then continue with our public advocacy to name a ship, a Navy ship, a combatant ship, a destroyer, a cruiser, or even an aircraft carrier for someone who deserved it after 107 years of being forgotten and not being remembered. So with that, thanks again for joining us. Thank you to Joanne. Thank you for our organizers. Thanks to AARP. I am a member. I'm also an AARP ambassador for caregiving. I gotta love them. support our veterans along the way. Thanks
Well-
again. Please have a good weekend and please be safe away from COVID. Thank you.
Well said, General Tony. So just to frame the transition from the Congressional Gold Medal presentation, which is the primary purpose of the event this afternoon, to the panel discussion, I would like to add two things, maybe three. One is it's been an honor, a privilege for us at ARP California to be part of the presentation. It's a moving presentation, very high emotion kind of a presentation. It's terrific to see the legacy of our veterans with their families. Secondly, we will be transitioning to the panel discussion, and we'll take a virtual break briefly to give families opportunities for photo opportunity with the general. And I see Congressman Juan Vargas still online, so we can arrange that. And I'm not the person who's going to do the production to match you with the right person as far as virtual photographs are concerned. I'll leave it to Tiffany. So that's the second item. And the third item is this will be my opportunity to say goodbye to you. Stay safe. I will be transitioning, handing the virtual baton to Commander Ray, who will be facilitating the discussion, Commander Ray Ricario. So he will be managing that panel discussion. We're in good hands, but stick around. So Tiffany, we're going to provide some direction, guidance for the photo opportunity, please.
Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate it. And again, congratulations and thank you to the families who joined us here today. Thank you and your loved ones for being here. We just wanted to take a quick photo. We know it's not the same as in person, but if you don't mind turning on your camera and just hitting that button at the bottom, you see the little video. If you press that and hit start video, that way we can see you all. And then we're just going to take a couple screenshots and send them out. And as mentioned earlier, the recording will also be available if you want to go back and view it. But what we're gonna need is just big smiles on the count of 3, and if you can hold it for a couple seconds. I don't know if you all can see the Lagosa family. I see them all smiling. That's amazing. Love it. So if on the count of 3, wait a couple more seconds for people to get on camera. And if you have your medal, you can show it. Thank you, Cheryl. That's great. Let's go ahead and smile. So in 3, 2, 1, big smiles. Great. Hold it. Perfect. So we will get that emailed out to the families. You can share it just for a little snapshot of today. Then you can always go back and watch the recording.
Actually, Tiffany, can we take another one? We do have 2 slides of guests. So I want to make sure that I capture everyone on camera.
Perfect.
Yes.
Always good to get more, right? So let's go ahead one more time in 3, 2, 1, big smiles.
Show teeth.
Show your teeth. Let's hold it maybe for a couple more seconds just so we can grab them. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. And with that, we're going to take a 5-minute break and we're going to play that video or that photo montage one more time. For you all, but thank you again, and we're just honored to have you.
Thank you.
Perfect. One last big round of applause for everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'll make my favorite joke. The applause is so loud and deafening you can't hear it. So congratulations to everybody, and thank you so much for being here. We're going to take our break, and then please stay tuned for the panel discussion on the Act of Valor Medal of Honor recipient, Telesforo Trinidad.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me do a quick mic check to make sure I'm coming in loud and clear. Can I get a quick thumbs up? All right, I believe I'm up and live. So welcome.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check.
Awesome. So welcome to the Telesforo Trinidad Telesforo portion of today's panel discussion. I am Ray Ricario. I'm a retired U.S. Navy commander and a member of the United States ship Telesforo Trinidad campaign. We've assembled a panel of distinguished individuals today to help promote the effort of naming a U.S. Navy combatant ship after the only Filipino sailor to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor, Telesforo Trinidad, in 1950, the highest honor, an award that any military member of the U.S. Can receive. I'm accompanied today with no other than Major General Taguba, one of our senior board members of USTTC, Ms. Joanne Fields, a very active community leader here in San Diego and nationally, also a member of the USTTC team. Last but not least, I believe we have a second great addition, Mr. Telesforo Trinidad, the last surviving child son of Telesforo, and also Mr. Pope Trinidad, Peripheral son and grandson of Telesforo. So welcome panel, and thanks for being here. A quick background of USTTC. The organization was formed back in January of last year. It's a designated 501c3 entity. The group is comprised of leading Filipino community leaders throughout the nation. USTTC is chaired by a very good friend of mine, Ronald Ravello, Captain, United States Navy retired, and also co-chaired by Noni Cabana, Colonel USAF, also a member of the Philvet team. Members comprised of many retired senior military officers, enlisted folks, various organization leaders throughout the country, and a number of concerned Filipinos throughout the world. For more information, you can go to our website, which is www.ussttc.org. And we've got a great website. You can find out more information. The primary mission of USTTC is to actively and aggressively petition the U.S. Navy to name a brand new U.S. Navy surface combatant in the very near future. I know we had the Congressman Vargas, who's also my congressman in my district, mentioned it, and the general as well. It's through them that we're going to get this done. The naming a ship is the sole responsibility and authority of the Secretary of the Navy, a very distinct function that he holds. And currently, that position is held by the Honorable Carlos del Toro. To date, the USTTC has been rather successful in garnering an impressive list of 80 U.S. congressional representatives, locally represented by Mr. Vargas, Sarah Jacobs, Scott Peters, and Mike Levine. Amongst them and throughout the country, we also have 11 U.S. senators, a number of city mayors, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria being one of the first to endorse us, and a number of organizations and around the country in support of the Telesforo Trinidad naming of a ship. The issue at hand here is that there's a number of competing groups that also want a ship named after other distinguished Americans, and there are very few ships to go around. So you can see it's got a little supply and demand issue. In the end, our intent is to garner much more massive community support and hopefully convince Secretary Del Toro to immediately name a ship for this most deserving Filipino sailor. This is the most appropriate tribute to the Trinidad family and tens of thousands of Navy sailors, officers who served in the Navy, and also other services like the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine as well. At this time, I'd like to have the other panelists say some words about their personal involvement, initiatives, and provide more circle perspective of this very noble and most deserving effort that we're trying to do. So if I can, I'd like to kick it off with Mr. Peripheral Trinidad. If you could say some words about your father and about what's been going on with the family. If you could go, sir.
Well, thanks, Ray. I think I'm going to speak for my father because this is Pope Trinidad. My father's very quiet man, and I just want to, on behalf of the family that we are so honored to be in such great company and with a great ceremony that we witnessed beforehand. And this effort is really, really well deserved for the families. But my family is happy to be here and really excited. General Taguba, Commander Ray, Joanne, thank you for all your efforts in naming a ship after my grandfather, Telesforo Trinidad. My dad is honored that there's so many people trying to make this happen, but we're honored because it really represents the efforts of all Filipino military and servicemen. And I think it's not representative of just one person. Is what we've seen today. This is something that would highlight all the achievements of Filipino servicemen for 150 years. So thank you very much. And on behalf of our family, put up the good fight.
Thanks, Pope, for those words. Appreciate that. If I can, Joanne, I know you spoke earlier, but I know you've got a lot of other initiatives on top of naming ship with regards to Mr. Trinidad.
Thank you, Ray. And thank you to the Trinidad family for allowing all of our Filipino community to really contribute and make sure that we have a warship named after our only Filipino Asian Pacific Islander sailor in the U.S. Navy's history to receive the Medal of Honor. While this history isn't in the books yet, that this is a great teachable moment for our whole community. Again, the Filipino community we know has contributed into American history, but has not received the level of recognition as it deserves. So working alongside PhilVet Rep, the USS TTC, and the Trinidad family, and now reaching out to our Filipino educators and teachers and spreading the net over the World Wide Web to again forward the history of our contributions, the Filipino contribution of our sailors and families. I really want to recognize the spouses. Ms. Dory Trinidad has been very active. I know the siblings of Mr. Porfirio Trinidad has also made efforts to have the recognition of Telesforo Trinidad forward and name a warship. So it will take all of us. It will take the village. This is over 100 years long, but we are at a point now that with a collective effort, this can be done. And this is a great teachable moment, again, for our whole community to work together as one military, as one Filipino community, not just in California, but nationwide and internationally with our, many Filipinos came by way of the Navy. I did, my father did, and many of our roots are through the military. So again, this is a great historical moment and movement for all of us. And I'm thankful to be a part of this and to also share it in this panel. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Joanne. And if I can just kind of add to my own personal experience with this, I came of light about Telesforo Trinidad's Medal of Honor last January. Here I am, a Navy brat. I served 25 years. I had no idea that there was somebody who had won the Congressional Medal of Honor. So this is much, much needed. If somebody like me didn't know, I don't know how anybody else would know. So, and many of my other fellow Filipino Americans who served had no idea. I've been kind of educated. So I hope those initiatives that you and Pope educated me on go forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it on to Major General Taguba here to kind of help frame the setup of the panel and go from there. So General, if you would please.
There's a long lost or unknown or hidden history on the relationship between the Philippines and the United States. Filipinos did not know, growing up, not knowing the history, but the Philippines was actually colonized and occupied by three powers: Spain, Japan, and the United States. And so this relationship between the United States and the Philippines actually started in 1898 when the Spaniards actually annexed yet sold the country to the United States. And over this time, since 1899, just a little bit of history, when the Macabebe Scouts were formed, that later became the background for the Philippine Scouts to fight against Filipinos. Not more on. And then in 1901, when President McKinley, I think it was, that signed a law that basically said that we should also enlist Filipinos into the United States Navy. So that started that whole saga of Filipinos serving under the US flag, not yet independent until 1946. And over that time, 3 medals of honors were awarded, just 3. From then, when Jose Nesperos won it in 1911 as a member of the 34th Company of the Philippine Scouts, fighting the Moros. And then later in 1915 with Telesforo Trinidad. And then one more soldier, Calugas, Lake Calugas in 1942. 3, just 3, over the thousands of Filipinos that served in the Navy, Army, Marines, Air Force, and even Coast Guard. So why is this important? I think we enumerated that because it's over 100, almost 107 years old. Why did a Medal of Honor winner who risked his life in 1915 to save his fellow sailors on a burning ship? You could almost imagine that over time he was forgotten, even though he served in 2 wars, and bypassed by the bureaucracy that exists today of having a ship named after a World War II. A sailor that won it in 1915. The only enlisted sailor of color, Filipino descent, has yet to be named. And over time, there's a little bit of facts and figures here that last year, the Navy named a guided destroyer, Aegis class destroyer, after a 3-star Marine, not a Medal of Honor winner. And then yet the Navy in their policy says that combatant ship will be named after a Medal of Honor winner. The Army has 4 naval ships, Medal of Honor winners, named after them, that they fought in Vietnam and World War II and the like. The first Asian American ship named after, a naval ship named after an Asian American was for Admiral Chan Hoon, who was a Silver Star winner, not a Medal of Honor. So my point is, we collectively started this call to action last year. It's time. It's overdue. We cannot forget the sacrifice of a long-standing hero to have a ship named after him. It's almost painfully obvious, right? But bureaucracy, having been assigned to the Pentagon several times, moves really slow. Public advocacy that we're doing today is very important. We have sons, grandsons that are still alive that knows about their loved one, their grandfather and their dad, but it's not automatic. We have almost 94 members of Congress now, Ray, just on the updated list, bipartisan, that are signed on, like Congressman Juan Vargas and also Sarah Jacobs. We have 33 national organizations that are signed up to support this process. We have private citizens, across the country. Admirals, American admirals, Filipino American admirals, soldiers like me, that we need to do something because we stood on their shoulders, that we need to do something. As I mentioned, we are now the voices. We are the voice now of Trinidad, of Telesforo Trinidad, to get him the recognition that he deserved. And how gratifying it is that we are in San Diego today. He served on the USS San Diego. And to have a ship, positively, you might say, I'm an optimist, a ship named when, after Trinidad, and based in San Diego. That kind of completes the circle, right? Fighting on a ship off the coast of San Diego, serving on a ship, and serving throughout World War II. And a quiet man, never raising his hand and says, hey, how about me? Well, we are it. We are it. And we need to activate ourselves and inspire ourselves. We have folks like Rear Admiral Mercado, Vice Admiral Rocky Bono, highest ranking Filipina that served in the United States Navy, if not in the United States Armed Forces, and then her brother, A.B. Cruz, and we have several others. And this is an active campaign that we need to do. It has to be done. And this is not just Filipino Americans. My bosses, when I was on active duty, would always ask, who else needs to know, right? We cannot look inwardly. We got to look outwardly. We need to tell everybody in San Diego that we are actively seeking public support to enable and hear our voices through Congress, to the Secretary of the Navy, that enough is enough. You cannot discount, you cannot forget, you cannot dismiss what Trinidad did for our country in 1915. You know, we cannot forget an enlisted sailor, not an officer, not a three-star Marine, not a captain in the United States Army, not a rear admiral, World War II veteran. Just because they have the rank doesn't mean that he is not an equal to their bearing. He is equal to them or more as a Medal of Honor winner, And, you know, this is not just Filipino history, this is American history. Let's not forget, that's why we started the Filipino Veterans Recognition Education Project, to recognize those soldiers that have served since 1899 and still serving today to this day. They have almost 40,000 sailors out, Filipino and Filipino American sailors serving out there. And they need to know, because maybe we should address that to the active Navy and say, hey guys, would you like to serve on the USS Telesforo Trinidad in the future? Your legacy, why we serve in the United States Navy, Army, Marines, and Air Force. You know, I apologize for my passion about this, because everybody's passionate about this, not just their families. And it's important. So Phil Rep is actively supporting this. By the way, the President's advisor, Special Assistant Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, her name is Erica Marsugu. She's a good friend. She has the memo that has been given to the President of the United States for him to intervene. You might say pull rank, but to have a ship named after this great hero. So I'm off my soapbox.
General, you can be on a soapbox any day. So everyone online, as you can see, the general is taking the charge. He's got point on a Navy mission here, or in this case, really an American mission. So the call that, you know, we're just echoing here with everybody is, we need to make it front and center to everybody who will listen to us, particularly, you know, those in the public who have influence, goes as far as the White House, Secretary of the Navy, so we can get a ship name. And again, I think it'd be a lasting tribute to all the work and all the dedication that the Filipino people have done for the great nation of the U.S. So the ties and the bonds that we have are, you know, inseparable. And it, you know, much like that video that we saw earlier, we just have to correct something that should have been done years ago. And I'm sure the Trinidad family can echo on that. What I'd like to do, I believe the staff behind the scenes has opened up the chat room and opened up for questioning. So we've got a little time here to open any questions about or commentary about what we're talking about and how you can get involved and things of such. So with that, the floor is open to anybody. Tiffany and staff, if you can help us with what.
Ray,
Yep.
while we look for the questions in the chat room, I'd like to share where our community could make a direct phone call to
Absolutely.
our House of Representatives. They will find who the direct representative is, but the general number to call in is 202. Maybe if we can put that into the chat, it's 202-225-3121. And the website is www.house.gov for the House of Representatives. That's their contact info. And for the Senate, the US Senate can be contacted at 202-224-3121. And their website is www.senate.gov. And again, the operator in DC can find your representative, and you can share your opinion on supporting this initiative to name a warship after Telesforo Trinidad.
Great information, Joanne. Thanks for sharing that to everybody.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody has a chance to catch that. And I think Tiffany just put it on real quick online. Tiffany, is there any questions coming from the audience? No questions yet. All right, so Pope, can I throw it back to you? And do you want to talk a little bit about what the family's done over the years to kind of help this effort, and anything you want to add at this time?
Well, you know what? First, I just want to say it's so wonderful to have so many people talk so passionately about this effort. Thank you, General Taguma, Ray, and Joanne. We are all humbled by this. I have to admit that my family, my Tita Pinky, the oldest aunt of the family, had spent years trying to get a ship named after my grandfather. Dad, who else worked on getting a ship named? It was Tita Pinky and Miguel, Tita Ding. Many members of a family have been working on this effort for years, and I have to admit that even when the TCC group approached us, we were reluctant to get involved because it has been one of those things. It's been a disappointment after disappointment. There was efforts to name a firehouse in Chicago after my grandfather. There's been efforts to name a building here and there. None have come to fruition quietly. This has been one of the best that I've seen, and I really loved hearing everyone's passionate pleas for this. Congressman Vargas is not here, but I have every time I hear him speak about my grandfather, really does humble me in how passionately he talks about it. But our efforts are to our hope is to not only have a ship named after my grandfather, but to highlight all of the efforts of Filipinos, the effort that General Taguma is getting to repeal the Recession Act, that would acknowledge the service of Filipinos during World War II. I believe all of these efforts connect us in several ways. To not name a ship after a Congressional Medal of Honor winner, which, General Taguma, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't every Navy Medal of Honor winner have a ship outside of my grandfather?
Just to answer your question, the current policy that has not changed over time, because the team, the advisory board, did their research to include those who serve Admiral, I forgot his name now, who who served in Subic Bay. That
Answer. Yeah. McKinnon.
So, right, McKinnon, that a ship, a ship, a destroyer will be named after a Medal of Honor winner. Okay, but they tend to deviate. It became politicized, you might say. Just to give you an example, two senators from Maine, which is the home of Bathworks, Ironworks that built ships, petitioned the Navy to name a destroyer, DDG-91, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong here. A brand new destroyer back about 4 years ago for Daniel K. Inouye, a Medal of Honor winner, Army Medal of Honor winner. Now, you might say honorable thing to do, and it went through the gauntlet of Congress and also the Department of Defense. That ship was christened last year and is based in Hawaii, right? So it kind of connect the dots. Came from Hawaii, fought with the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, wins a Medal of Honor, becomes a senator, and a ship is named after him. How come that did not happen for Trinidad? Because my assumption is it's 100 years old. You got to turn all those pages, take them out of the friggin' bookcases, and look at who is Trinidad. Is it important enough? Well, he's a Medal of Honor winner. He is enlisted, but he didn't have an advocacy like we're doing today. It takes an entire village, as Joanne said, and more for us to broadcast this across the country. Because as I mentioned, this is not just about Filipinos and Filipino Americans advocating for a ship. This should be the entire United States Navy advocating for a ship. Okay, that's what we aspire to do. And we have engagement with Congress, but it should be, the Navy should be held to account to follow their own rule. Right? It's happened before that somebody at the Navy Historical Society or whatever have you, Washington DC, they did this before, but there was no action taken.
Thank you. We do have a question in chat. It's by Michael Dolphin, and it reads, might it be good to take a look at how the campaigns for others were targeted? Campaigns and media seem to be the actual big sticks of the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, General. I was going to pass it on to you.
It takes, in that rule, that policy of ship naming convention that the Navy has, they also react to public input. Why? Because they go to Congress. Why? Because they know people in the Navy. Why? Because they know the people in the United States Department of Defense. So public advocacy counts. It's basically how loud you are? How loud can you scream that says it's time to have a ship named after Trinidad? Now there's an alternative that our team were examining of renaming an active ship, a combatant ship, after Trinidad. But that belongs to a commission because of we're doing away with the Confederacy, renaming posts and ships and whatever have you. That's a possibility of renaming a ship. Not decommissioned ship, but a ship that we could change. But that's a possibility, not a probability. But the main intention of this campaign, USS-TTC, is to get a brand new ship. Just to kind of tell you the bureaucracy associated with renaming. Once, I'm going with a positive notion. Once the Secretary of the Navy names a ship, then the ship has to be appropriated for, okay? And then it goes to somebody like Mississippi where they build ships, or Maine where they build ships, or even Virginia where they build ships. Then it takes a lot of time to build that ship. It may take 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
Okay. As an example, a U.S. Navy carrier was named after Petty Officer Dory Miller, African American who won a Medal of Honor at Pearl Harbor. He's a cook, but he saved and he fought and shot down several ships. So they named the ship after him, a carrier that is going to be built in commission in 2030. That's how long it will take. Well, we don't have to wait that long. It's all about appropriation. I don't want to have to give you the nuts and bolts on, having served in the Pentagon and how they appropriate stuff. Most important is that, and the direct outcome that we have to answer the questions, have the Secretary of the Navy. He's been approached by many people. He's been approached by his classmates. He's been approached by four-star admirals, non-Filipinos, like Fargo, like Harris and Harkin and everybody else who says, name this ship, right? It's just waiting for something. For us, that's a no-brainer, right? You have two ships coming up, name one of them. But it takes all of us to have our voices heard, and it's very important.
We do have a hand raised by Michael Dolphin. Michael, if you'd like to go ahead and pose your question, and then we have a couple more questions and comments on chat that I can read after Michael Dolphin has made his question or comment.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Hi, Michael. I see
Good,
you.
thank you. Good to see you. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Yeah. Well, I'm in San Diego actually doing this.
I know, and I haven't been down there lately. And the general and I, you guys hear us talking to each other. We met at the Philippines consulate here in Los Angeles a couple of years.
Yes. I'm glad. Yeah.
So it was a great day, and I have been monitoring ever since.
Oh, thank you.
Joe Garbanzos and I talk a lot about this effort. And one of the things to reiterate is, you said public advocacy is a different place in these days. And as much as said, there are a lot of people who know, there are a lot of people who kind of recognize this, but they aren't moving. The media is a tool. And one of the things, even the Dory Miller success, there was a Dory Miller movie first, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And then there was the Dory Miller commitment to name a ship.
Yeah.
So some of those things, and in this case, it may not be a movie. Mr. Trinidad, there's an idea for you to become a producer. But those kinds of things get attention. I mean, there are X number of Congress people, there are X number of representatives, and there are millions of United States citizens.
Yeah.
And quite possibly finding somebody on television or radio to kind of take this up. And, we got so many TV shows out. They're just looking for something to talk about.
Right.
Whether it's the talk or the view, or, they're just looking for great subjects to talk about. And so maybe some of that campaign to find somebody who wants to listen, and not only will they listen, but then take it to the next level. I mean, that media campaign is just another thing, because apparently you have talked to people who should matter, who make those decisions. Now there should be a few million people behind you to support that as well.
I just to add to that, Mike, the mainstream media, ABC, NBC, CBS, or whatever, are typically approached, and we've not done that so far. I mean, I had asked my retiree flag officers if they're willing to just, appear, and a lot of talking places, maybe a minute of why. And it's because the mainstream media always covers World War II veterans, because they're part of the greatest generation. But in the case of Trinidad, 1915, how can we forget 1915? When we did the Congressional Gold Medal, we had 20 minutes to meet with congressional staffers to give them a history of why Philippines matter. A lot of these folks didn't even know that it was colonized by the United States and brutalized for almost 60 years, using the same Filipinos to fight there are wars in the Philippines. But that's kind of the forgotten thing. But points well taken. We need to go in front of the media. We need to continue writing articles, getting people to know, because we can't do it at the low level. We have to raise the elevation a little bit. And I know my friends are listening to this. Just telling the country that we need to do something, and something has to happen clearly. And COVID actually is contributing to our difficulty of engaging Congress, for example. I mean, we have to do virtual stuff. We have to make appointments. When we did Phil Vet Rep Congressional Gold Medal, we produced an 18-minute video and we passed it around Congress and we wore them out, literally. 17 months of campaigning, face to face, we wore them out. And finally, 383 of them said, enough is enough. I don't want to see Taguba anymore, not just me. And that's what we need to do. It's not a one-man show. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have another question on chat, and it reads, would be great if social media platforms are used to post the campaign. I have never seen such a campaign posted. Is there someone assigned to use such platforms in the campaign?
Yeah,
Yes.
we do have a Facebook and Instagram, and I'll just openly say it's not as good as it should be based on this conversation that Mr. Dolphin just put out in general. So I think this is going to be feedback that myself and General would bring back to the next meeting, which I believe is next week. But there is a Facebook page. If you go to USSTTC, look that up, you'll see a Facebook link. And as I said earlier, there is a website. But it's getting into the other channels, the other media. Joanne's great. She did something really unbelievable back in May when she got several news outlets to cover, actually first getting the congressional folks here in San Diego to sign the letter. But it's that multiple, what we call, multiple force multipliers to get out there to get this going. So the answer is yes, but we need to do better. And that's my opinion. Anybody else want to add to that?
I'm glad that you brought that up, Ray. We have a professional web developer that also does Facebook. So I'll ask, if we could upgrade the content as part of our mission in supporting USTTC.
Yep.
So more, I'll get with Ron and Noni.
Gotcha, sir. I see somebody raising their hand. Tiffany, you want to?
I'm Evelyn Machanandamo. That question actually came from me.
Okay.
Usually, I also have a company where I have a website, I have Facebook, but it's not usual that people would go there. How one reaches the platforms of social media would actually be by giving these like flyers that you have or the story to the various organizations that the Filipino Americans have. We have several organizations, and if given to them and requested to post them in their social media and their platforms, that is the best way to reach the Filipino community, so that they know that they need to mobilize themselves and contact their senators and congressmen. Not hearing about this, in fact, just hearing about this for the first time surprises me.
Anyway, yeah, those are great words, and I shaking my head because I'm part of the committee as well. And the first thing that came out of my mind is we got to cross-pollinate. As the General said earlier, I think we have 35 or so organizations throughout the country. I know there are dozens more, but we probably do have a much more campaign for promotions between ourselves so that we can reach out more, so that folks like you will know more about this. So again, I think this is a lesson learned. Great feedback that we'll take back to the USTTC team.
Yes, I did see a hand raised. It was lowered. Michael Dolphin, I'm not sure if you had another question. Okay. We do have a few other questions on chat. So we'll go ahead to the next one, which is there a timeline on this campaign? Any deadlines for the calls and letters?
Yeah, so I know we got a time check here, so we'll probably take as much as we can. I don't know what our hard stop is, but I think Jen alluded to that. This is a process, and it really requires different manifestations of how this is going to work. We've got a lot of front and center. The secretary knows about this. I was just on the phone with Ron Robello this morning, and he gave me some status briefs. So at this time, it's a wait and see. But in the wait and see, we could still do a lot more. Like Mr. Dalton, we got to put more public pressure, public awareness. So the more people who know, the more people that matter who can influence the secretary or even get to the president, this is going to happen quicker. That's my personal opinion. I think panel probably agrees with that. So that there is no timeline other than now, or it should have been yesterday.
What I would like to do is invite Carolina, if we could get your contact information so we can loop her in. So
Sure.
when we have a communicate to go out, that we make sure we share that with her and others. Of course, going to the website and the Facebook page are other points of entry, but I think we should loop in Carolina to join us because of her interest, strong interest.
Absolutely. Great idea. Tiffany, you got a couple more to close out the hour?
Joanne just answered the one question about the signing of the letter and the petition that can be circulated. The other question from Carolina was about the Naval Historical Society needing to recommend the naming of the ship every year, or is there other ways that the Chief Naval Operations can influence the Secretary of the Navy?
Right.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they not. Oh, take over, right? Yeah, the society has a 2-star admiral, and they provide input, actually historical research on what ships are going to be named and how important that is. It's a matter of order of merit, you might say. And they've known they did it once before, but several maybe 5-10 years ago. But now it's resurrecting again, and we want them to be to provide visibility. But we're not the only group that's requesting a ship to be named after a Medal of Honor winner. There are other groups, countless other ones, that I'm sure the Secretary of the Navy are getting the list, and the society does too. The Historical Society does that. But it's a matter of who cries the loudest, and that's what I alluded to. We have the opportunity to be very vocal about this, not just the time that has taken, but why is it now? Navy has been naming ships after Americans, but not since Inoue was named, and he's not even a sailor, he's an Army guy, but a Medal of Honor winner. So when was the last time an enlisted sailor of color, an Asian American of Filipino descent, has ever been featured to be named after a ship? Never. So we don't want him to look like a unicorn. What we want to do is to put him on the front page. And an enlisted sailor, Asian American, Filipino American. And could you imagine the interest and the motivation and the inspiration that brings to sailors that a ship is named after a short guy, strong guy, a hero. We're all short. I'm short. All Filipinos are short. But a powerful figure in our naval history.
Our last question is coming from YouTube, and I believe it was answered, but if we could share that again for our viewers on YouTube. It's, can someone share their website and social media handles on this naval vessel naming project?
Yeah, so, and I'll put it back out. It's www.ussttc.org. USSTTC.org. And we're there's all the conference information, various events, things we've done in the past, people who've been bored. So you'll get a lot of information and who to contact and be part of the, when you sign up and register, we'll be able to reach out to you and put out the information as to the progress and help that we need. I hope that helps. Yes, that's the one right there. And again, on Facebook, if you simply type in USSTTC, you will find the Facebook page that coordinates with the webpage. I know it's at 3 o'clock. I know it's a busy Saturday for a lot of people. I want to thank everybody for staying on board and helping us out, promote this. So just want to go around the panel here. Pope and Professor, do you want to have any parting words here?
Just want to thank everyone for their efforts, and I love some of the points about passing this information around. I want to challenge everyone. I've traveled between my old hometown of Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Virginia, where my dad served as a 22-year submariner. Traveled here to the San Diego events, and I've shook 100,000s of hands, I think at this point, and heard that same story. I've never heard the story before. I've never heard about a Congressional Medal of Honor winner that is a Filipino. I never knew the story about the Filipinos that fought in World War II. That is something that we can all do. I mean, it'll make it easier if we had a ship that we could point to, you know, that you see a ship go by and I point, hey, look at that ship. That's a Pinoy. Oi. And then we can talk about that story. Those are the things that I challenge everyone to do. And I look forward to everyone sharing this. So I appreciate the effort. I appreciate everyone being here. On behalf of my family, my dad was in the background saying he would love to see this in his lifetime. So we do appreciate the Trinidad family, to you and yours. Thank you. John Taguba.
Thank you, Pope. And thank you,
Ray.
Appreciate it. And there's not much what I like to do at this point. I just want to throw it back and for the General to kind of close this out for the entire event. And I'll also just personally thank him for the great work he's done, not just for the Congressional Gold Medal, but for this effort. You know, it's great having an Army guy fight for the Navy. So thanks again, General, from one guy in uniform to the other. Thank you.
Listen, short. We could always do more, and we can always do better. But it takes a whole lot of effort to do this. And I know this is the first time we've had a panel, and I think I'll get a hold of our team that we need to do more, and not just on email, on Facebook, or on the website, but features. You know, get ahead of everybody, let them know who is Trinidad and what did he do, and why is our community in our country are willing to do this on his behalf. So thanks again. I thank you to Priscilla, Grace, Sonia, I think I got that, Tiffany, Joe, and Mike for supporting this effort, to sponsoring this Zoom call that we have. But you know, there's 5 million of the 38 million ARP members. There are 5 million veterans that are associated with ARP. So, and I do thank them for doing this on our behalf. So be a member of ARP if you're not, by the way. I'll check your cards later on. Okay, thanks again.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, Tiffany. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Thank you,
day.
everyone.
Be safe. Have a good weekend.